Here with UT Martin Beach volleyball coach Jaclynn Wilson in your eighth season. Coach, you have won three straight regular season titles, and how has that matched your vision on building the beach program at UT Martin?
Yeah, we've had some momentum over the last few years. I think the conference has strengthened, along the way, and we're seeing that a little bit more than ever this season, across the board. But definitely, the vision of any program, whether it's beach or indoor, we're trying to win championships. So, been very happy to be standing at the top the last few seasons, and knew coming into this season it was going to be a lot bit more of a challenge, as I think all the programs are stronger than they've been in the past, and knew that UT Chat was going to come in with a lot of experience, an older team per se, and knew that they were going to be really strong this season, and everybody else, Lindenwood being beach only, they had a strong season and took us out of the tournament last season. So, excited to be competing up there, and Moorhead looking really great this season as well. And, hoping that we can find a way to compete come tournament time.
Now, you made a mention about Moorhead and Lindenwood, and of course Chattanooga, and looking even at your schedule and some of the other schedules throughout the conference. What's it kind of say that everyone's kind of beefed up their schedules a little bit and taking on some pretty strong competition and even competing pretty well against that competition?
For sure. I think you're seeing, all the programs are trying to play in bigger tournaments, and, Moorhead went out to California for a run there. And I think it's a couple things. It's trying to prepare yourself for conference, trying to get, play those stronger teams so that you feel you're prepared for conference play, and two, provide your student athletes with that experience. I think for us, knowing we have a lot of indoor that cross over, I want it to still be the real beach experience, and not just conference play. And I think that's the direction a lot of the programs in the conference are headed, and trying to provide that for our student athletes.
Well, I'm sure it was great to get on the sand with a team like LSU earlier this year too, and you had mentioned a little bit about some of the indoors coming over to the outdoor. What is that like for to transition for those type of players to come over, and then as well as pairing up with some players on in your program that probably had the fall to work on a lot of beach and kind of now team up with the players coming from indoor.
Yeah, to touch on LSU a little bit, that was a really cool experience. Their facility is incredible. We got to go over and see the mascot, the living tiger, and that was really cool. I will say it was a little aggressive out of the gates, considering some of that piece of transitioning indoor players to the sand. I feel like we always see it early, in beach season, just the adjustment period, having those sand legs, and the girls who are training in it year round. Um, it's a different game, and it's a different endurance, and the legs, it takes time for them to adjust. And when we were at LSU, by the third and fourth duel, you could see it. You really could see it. And I mean, it always sets kind of a bar for us and lets us know where we are and where we need to get. So I always kind of mentally prepare myself for that beginning of the season. We haven't been in the sand very long as an entire team, and the transition is tough. About this time of year is when I feel like we're really starting to close that gap. And our girls work really hard for that. We have to push them pretty hard, like conditioning in the sand, to try to close that gap and build that endurance, and get their legs where they need to be. Um, I think it's a challenge for the girls coming from the indoor game to the sand. I think it's so great for them. I love it. I believe in it. I think what it does for their indoor game as well. Um, we see it, whether that's the court vision, the shots, the jumping ability, the speed, the foot movement. I think sometimes we talk about not losing our power from the indoor, and we try to bring some of that power to the sand. Um, but the indoor girls love it. I think that's the biggest thing is getting them to buy into it and want to be a part of it. And I think that's something here, we love sand. We love getting in the sand. We love being able to train through the spring together. The majority of the indoor that crossover. And our girls want to be a part of it. Now we do have a handful of beach only, and again, trying to provide them that full program experience this fall, more than we've done in the past. We did provide them those 4 dates, where they traveled and played in really strong, good competition tournaments. And I think that was so great for them. And I think, that gave them some confidence coming into the spring. And we always kind of try to prepare them too for, hey, you have this fall in the sand, which gives you a little bit of a leg up on these indoor girls, but don't get comfortable. And knowing we cross over as coaches, we're not there with them all the time and holding their hand and bringing them along. So it's a lot of self motivation and trying to push themselves. So when the indoor girls come out, they're ready and they can help bring them along, but also be ready to compete for spots.
So you talked about the building of getting into the sand legs and getting more prepared. You're pretty deep into the season now. So how do you feel the team's coming along right now, and who are some of the pairings that have been doing pretty well for you this year?
Goodness. I think the girls are coming along great. I think, their bodies are feeling it a little bit right now. We've pushed them pretty hard, um, to try to, get that endurance that we feel we need. Um, but I feel right now, it's a little concerning on my end as far as we've been making some changes, and we really haven't been at this point in the season where we are still moving around and trying to find partnerships. I think that's just more a decision on my end. I wasn't extremely comfortable and confident where we were. Um, I felt like we were in a position where we could beat anybody, but we were very vulnerable, um, to get caught too. And I felt like that happened against Moorhead. So um, kind of led me to change and go in a different direction. And we're still navigating that a little bit on trying to find exactly where we need to be, on this back end of conference as well as going into the tournament. So I couldn't tell you exactly where we are going to be or where those partnerships are going to be, but we've had a couple, strong and steady pairs, and Kayla Bryant and Olivia O'Keefe, very strong in the threes for us all season. We pushed them up to the twos a little bit higher and stronger competition, and based on their size, um, wasn't where I maybe wanted them to be, but I have a lot of confidence that they can get it done, and their partnership, their speed and just the chemistry that they carry. So we have a lot of confidence in that, but we have pushed them to the next level there. And then you've got Sydney Eckert and Reagan McGee, who have been super solid for us just all season long. I think they've lost one duel as a pair, and just really confident in their partnership right now. And then everywhere else, we're just kind of trying to figure it out.
Okay, so obviously you're talking about figuring it out, and you're coming down to it, and you have a couple of matchups with Chattanooga still to come, with one being conference, one non-conference. You still have one more tournament before you even play the final OVC weekend before you even get into the conference championships. Kind of what are some of the goals? And I know you mentioned earlier you always set out to win and do the best that you can and try and get a championship. But what are some of the focuses and some of the goals set for the team right now as you're still trying to mix and match and figure out the units you want to put together?
Yeah, I think some of the goals that we have set forth right now are getting better every time we step in the sand, whatever that looks like. And that's individually, that's, dependent on what pairs we have together. I think, probably our biggest focus right now is putting the team first, and whatever that looks like. Wherever we end in our 1 through 5 pairings, there's going to be some solid pieces that don't land in those top 5, and they're huge pieces to the puzzle, and they have been all season long. And that's hard. You've got girls who are working extremely hard every day in the sand and trying to push their teammates, one to earn a place in that lineup, and two to push their teammates so that we're getting better and we're, hopefully landing where we want to be at the end of the season. And I see that, I respect that. And I think for us right now, it's just trying to find the best chemistry pieces where we can succeed in those pairs. And so I think more than ever, especially being, this deep in the season and trying to navigate some of finalizing some of those pieces, is getting the girls to really, really commit to each other, really, really commit to the program and the bigger picture, and not be focused on an individual. And that's hard to do. I mean, you're individuals and these girls are competitive and everybody wants to be a part of it. And they are. And I think it's just, that's our focus right now and that's our goal. And as a coach, I have taken every individual piece, try, you have your head in your heart. And I'm really trying to make these decisions based on, matchups in conference, where we need to be successful, and hopefully find a way to get these girls a championship come tournament time.
Well, perfect. Thank you, Coach. UT Martin Beach volleyball coach Jaclynn Wilson, thank you very much for your time, and we wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you. Thanks, Jose.